You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
We've all been there. You realize your business needs to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Well, it's easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post noticed. Indeed's sponsored jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. Your post jumps to the top of search results so the right candidates see it first. And it works. Sponsored jobs on Indeed get 45% more applications than non-sponsored ones. One of the things I love about Indeed is how fast it makes hiring. And yes, we do actually use Indeed for hiring here at N2K CyberWire. Many of my colleagues here came to us through Indeed. Plus, with sponsored jobs, there are no subscriptions, no long-term contracts. You only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Oh, in the minute or so that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners to this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/cyberwire. Just go to Indeed.com/cyberwire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/cyberwire. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Cloudflare says yesterday's widespread outage was not caused by a cyber attack. Predator mobile spyware remains highly active. Microsoft is investigating ongoing 365 authentication services issues. An account takeover campaign targets Entra ID users by abusing a popular pen testing tool. Palo Alto Networks documents a JavaScript obfuscation method dubbed JSFireTruck. Trend Micro and Mitel patch multiple high-severity vulnerabilities. CISA issues multiple advisories. My Hacking Humans co-host Joe Carrigan joins us to discuss Linkless recruiting scams. And Uncle Sam wants an AI chatbot. It's Friday, June 13th, 2025. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your CyberWire Intel Briefing. Happy Friday, and thanks for joining us here. It's great, as always, to have you with us. Cloudflare has confirmed that a widespread outage on its network was not caused by a cyber attack and no data was lost. The incident lasted about 2.5 hours, triggered by a failure in Workers KV, a critical key-value store used across Cloudflare's serverless platform. The root cause was an outage at a third-party cloud provider supporting the KV backend. The failure impacted many services, including Google Cloud Platform, and disrupted authentication, streaming, image uploads, and AI functions. Cloudflare is now moving to reduce reliance on that provider by migrating storage to its own R2 system. The company will also add safeguards and new tools to better manage future outages and restore service without triggering cascading failures. Despite international sanctions and public exposure, the Predator mobile spyware remains highly active and adaptable. Originally developed by Cytrox and now part of the Intellexa Alliance, Predator uses both one-click and zero-click methods to infect devices, granting access to microphones, cameras, and sensitive data. It targets high-value individuals, including journalists, politicians, and activists. Researchers from Recorded Future have observed new infrastructure and operations in over a dozen countries, with heavy use in Africa and a newly reported presence in Mozambique. Predators' evolving 5-tier infrastructure, now linked to a Czech firm, makes tracking difficult. Fake websites and new server strategies help evade detection. Its modular design allows remote updates, reinforcing its persistence. Predators' use remains strategic, costly, and deeply concerning for civil society and cross-border surveillance. Microsoft is investigating an ongoing Microsoft 365 issue affecting authentication services, particularly self-service password resets and adding multi-factor authentication methods. The problem, linked to a recent configuration change aimed at improving MFA, is impacting users across Asia-Pacific, Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Microsoft has issued a temporary fix and reports signs of improvement. Affected users, including NHS Mail in the UK, are seeing errors like no methods available. This follows recent Microsoft 365 authentication and access issues in January, April, and May. A major account takeover campaign is targeting Entra ID users by abusing the team filtration penetration testing tool, according to Proofpoint. Originally designed for ethical hacking, team filtration can automate password spraying, account enumeration, and data exfiltration. The tool requires an AWS account and a Microsoft 365 Business Basic license to function. Since December 2024, a threat actor dubbed UNK Sneaky Strike has used it against roughly 100 cloud tenants, peaking in January of this year. Attacks rely on the Microsoft Teams API and global AWS infrastructure for stealthy, high-intensity bursts. Smaller tenants saw broad targeting, while larger ones had focused user targeting. The campaign uses outdated Microsoft Teams clients and exploited OAuth app IDs to obtain bearer tokens via Entra ID. Most attack traffic came from AWS servers in the US, Ireland, and the UK. Palo Alto Networks Unit 42 has uncovered a large-scale malware campaign that compromised nearly 270,000 websites using a JavaScript obfuscation method dubbed JSFireTruck. This technique relies on JavaScript's type coercion and only 6 ASCII characters to encode functioning code. Though the obfuscated scripts are long and conspicuous, they're difficult to analyze without automation. Attackers used JSFireTruck alongside layered obfuscation methods, reconstructing payloads through arrays and mixing readable and encoded elements. These scripts detect if users arrive via search engines and then redirect them using full-page iframes, potentially leading to phishing or malware. The activity surged in mid-April. Unit 42 urges admins to patch systems and check for infections. Veracode recently found a similar obfuscation-heavy campaign using a malicious NPM package with at least 7 hiding techniques. It is worth noting that while Palo Alto Networks refers to the method as JSFireTruck, the creators of the campaign internally use a different F word. Speaking of Palo Alto Networks, they've released patches for multiple vulnerabilities across their products, including Global Protect app, Cortex XDR, PanOS, and Prisma Access Browser. The most critical flaw is an authenticated code injection in Global Protect for macOS with a CVSS score of 7.1. 2 PanOS flaws scored medium severity. The Prisma Access Browser received 12 fixes, including a cache issue and 11 Chrome-related bugs, with a combined CVSS score of 8.6. No active exploitation has been reported. Trend Micro has issued critical security updates for its Apex Central and Endpoint Encryption Policy Server products, addressing multiple high-severity and critical remote code execution and authentication bypass vulnerabilities. These flaws, mostly caused by insecure deserialization, allow unauthenticated attackers to execute code as system or bypass authentication entirely. While no exploitation has been reported, immediate patching is strongly advised. Apex Central also had 2 critical RCE flaws, both with CVSS scores of 9.8. These were patched in a recent on-premise version, with fixes automatically applied to Apex Central as a service. No workarounds exist for these vulnerabilities. Meanwhile, Mitel has released patches for a critical untracked vulnerability in its MyCollab platform's NewPoint unified messaging component. The flaw, a path traversal issue, allows unauthenticated remote attackers to access provisioning data and perform unauthorized admin actions. It affects multiple MyCollab versions, with fixes in recent versions. Researcher Damani Taumi, who found the flaw, said over 20,000 internet-exposed instances may be at risk. The issue is a bypass of a previously patched flaw. CISA warns that ransomware actors are exploiting a path traversal flaw in Simple Help RMM software to target customers of a utility billing software provider. The vulnerability, with a CVSS score of 7.5, allows attackers to steal credentials and API keys. It was patched in January, along with 2 related flaws. Dragon Force ransomware previously exploited this in May. CISA urges immediate patching, disconnection of vulnerable systems, and threat hunting, especially for users running Simple Help version 5.5.7 or earlier. CISA also issued 10 new ICS advisories addressing vulnerabilities in products from Siemens, Aviva, and PTZ Optics. These advisories cover critical systems including Siemens Scalance, RuggedCom, Symantec S1500 CPUs, Technomatic's plant simulation, and Aviva's Pi software suite. One advisory also targets pan-tilt zoom cameras. CISA urges industrial system administrators to review these advisories for detailed vulnerability information and recommended mitigations to protect against potential exploits in industrial environments. Coming up after the break, my Hacking Humans co-host Joe Carrigan joins us to discuss Linkless recruiting scams, and Uncle Sam wants an AI chatbot. Stay with us. Hey everybody, Dave here. I've talked about Delete Me before, and I'm still using it because it still works. It's been a few months now, and I'm just as impressed today as I was when I signed up. Delete Me keeps finding and removing my personal information from data broker sites, and they keep me updated with detailed reports, so I know exactly what's been taken down. I'm genuinely relieved knowing my privacy isn't something I have to worry about every day. The Delete Me team handles everything. It's the set it and forget it peace of mind. And it's not just for individuals. Delete Me also offers solutions for businesses, helping companies protect their employees' personal information and reduce exposure to social engineering and phishing threats. And right now, our listeners get a special deal, 20% off your Delete Me plan. Just go to joindeleteme.com/N2K and use promo code N2K at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/N2K, code N2K. And now, a word from our sponsor, ThreatLocker. Keeping your system secure shouldn't mean constantly reacting to threats. ThreatLocker helps you take a different approach by giving you full control over what software can run in your environment. If it's not approved, it doesn't run. Simple as that. It's a way to stop ransomware and other attacks before they start, without adding extra complexity to your day. See how ThreatLocker can help you lock down your environment at www.threatlocker.com. And joining me once again is Joe Carrigan. He is my co-host over on the Hacking Humans podcast, along with Maria Vermazis. Joe, it's great to have you back.
Hi, Dave. It's good to be back.
So we were recently talking about this scam over on Hacking Humans, and I thought it was one worth sharing with our CyberWire audience here. This one centers around some shenanigans on LinkedIn.
Yes, it is from the Fin6 cyber criminal group, which is a designation. I don't know. In MITRE, they're designated as Fin6. They're also, their official designation, I guess, Mage Cart Group 6.
Yeah.
Which,
Skeleton Spider is another name
nice
for them. Yeah.
Camouflage Tempest. That's probably the Microsoft name for them.
Right.
Taal, Taal.
Yeah.
All these different names, but they're financial crimes. Mage Cart was a carding organization, I think, if my memory serves me right. But don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
So what these guys are doing now is they're targeting recruiters on LinkedIn, and they're saying they're sending them an email or a message, and that message is just plain text, like ASCII text, right? It says, "Thank you for your considering my application. For your convenience, you can also view my full resume along with additional information about my experience and portfolio at bobbyweissman.com." Now, don't go to bobbyweissman.com. I'll tell you what happens next.
Okay.
And then it has a nice closing and a sincerely Robert Weissman to make it sound all nice. So they've compromised some site, or they bought a website, bobbyweissman.com. When you go to this website, it captures your IP address, it analyzes what browser string you're using, and captures the operating system from that browser string. And then it says, if you're not on a Windows machine, we'll just show you some Bobby Weissman content. And it looks like a professional website that you'd see. You remember all your cool friends that set up websites and they still have them up?
Sure.
Yeah. Did you ever do that?
Yes.
I have never done that.
It's because I'm cooler than you.
Yes.
or perhaps the opposite.
I've just never taken the time to do it.
Yeah.
But and somebody already bought the domain name joecarrigan.com.
Oh, I see.
So there's some other Joe Carrigan out there. I think he's an insurance salesman.
Okay.
Anyway, what happens if you are on a Windows box is it gives you a CAPTCHA, right? To make sure that you're human.
Okay.
And then the next thing that happens is it downloads a zip file. That zip file contains a link and a .lnk file, which will install some kind of JavaScript malware that puts a backdoor in your computer, exfiltrates a bunch of data, and also probably starts beginning to install ransomware.
Yeah.
So that's the game. That's the trick. There is no link to click. You actually have to physically enter bobbyweissman.com.
Right.
And
that's the part that caught my eye, though.
Right.
Because that's a little different than what we're used to.
Yeah. Normally we say, don't click the link. And if that's your only bit of security awareness here, you didn't violate it.
Right.
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 You complied. So there's more to life than don't click the link.
Yeah.
Maybe we should put that on a bumper sticker. More to life than don't click the link here. Think about what you're doing. When somebody says, here's my website, go look at my portfolio, you would expect to go to look at a portfolio, not to immediately get asked to download some zip file.
Right. And I think in this case, it's trying to make you think that what you're downloading is the resume.
Is the resume, correct.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say here, aside from you really need to be aware of what you're doing and have a little bit of understanding here, because like you said, the don't click the link part of this, this just completely gets bypassed. This is a good social engineering trick, I think. I think it's going to be surprisingly effective against Windows users.
Yeah. I mean, because you either have to copy and paste this URL,
right,
or just manually type it in.
Correct.
So it bypasses a lot of inbound filtering in your email program as well, because there's no link to analyze.
That's right. This doesn't have the typical HTML layout with the href, the anchor tag in it, with the href. That's having to go all the way back to when I used to write web code, David.
Right.
It's been a while.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting one. And like I said, it was the lack of a link that I think sets this one apart. It's a subtle thing, but it's an interesting evolution at the same time.
I would agree 100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will have a link to that story in the show notes. The original story for this came courtesy of the folks over at The Record, so we will link to them. Joe Carrigan, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Dave.
Compliance regulations, third-party risk, and customer security demands are all growing and changing fast. Is your manual GRC program actually slowing you down? If you've ever found yourself drowning in spreadsheets, chasing down screenshots, or wrangling manual processes just to keep your GRC program on track, you're not alone. But let's be clear, there is a better way. Vanta's trust management platform takes the headache out of governance, risk, and compliance. It automates the essentials, from internal and third-party risk to consumer trust, making your security posture stronger, yes, even helping to drive revenue. And this isn't just nice to have. According to a recent analysis from IDC, teams using Vanta saw a 129% boost in productivity. That's not a typo, that's real impact. So, if you're ready to trade in chaos for clarity, check out Vanta and bring some serious efficiency to your GRC game. Vanta, GRC, how much easier trust can be. Get started at vanta.com/cyber. And finally, less than a month from launch, the federal government is preparing to unveil AI.gov, a new initiative designed to bring artificial intelligence tools into widespread use across agencies. Discovered through a GitHub repository that has since been archived, the site appears to be a central hub to help agencies integrate AI into their operations. Led by Thomas Shedd, a former Tesla software engineer manager and current head of the General Services Administration's Technology Transformation Services, the project is built around three core features: a chatbot, an all-in-one API to connect with models from providers like OpenAI and Google, and a tool called Console for monitoring AI usage across agencies. According to the staging site, the platform will use FedRAMP-certified services via Amazon Bedrock, although one listed model by Cohere may not yet be certified. AI.gov is expected to launch July 4th, signaling a major push to modernize federal operations through artificial intelligence. I know what you're saying. Finally, a chatbot to fix government inefficiency. What could possibly go wrong? And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. Be sure to check out this weekend's Research Saturday and my conversation with Ziv Karliner, Pillar Security's co-founder and CTO. We're discussing their research, new vulnerability in GitHub Copilot and Cursor, how hackers can weaponize code agents. That's Research Saturday. Check it out. N2K's senior producer is Alice Carruth. Our CyberWire producer is Liz Stokes. We're mixed by Trey Hester with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Peter Kilpie is our publisher, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here next week. And now a word from our sponsor, SpyCloud. Identity is the new battleground, and attackers are exploiting stolen identities to infiltrate your organization. Traditional defenses can't keep up. SpyCloud's holistic identity threat protection helps security teams uncover and automatically remediate hidden exposures across your users, from breaches, malware, and phishing to neutralize identity-based threats like account takeover, fraud, and ransomware. Don't let invisible threats compromise your business. Get your free corporate darknet exposure report at spycloud.com/cyberwire and see what attackers already know. That's spycloud.com/cyberwire.